Welcome to the Enlightened Musician Podcast, a podcast all about the music business and learning how to turn your art into an equally successful business, flipping the mentality of a starving artist into a profitable, sustainable career. Each week, we will interview someone that is excelling in their field and talk tips and tricks on how you can implement that for yourself. Because honestly, how can you know what you don't know until you've been enlightened? Welcome to another episode of the Enlightened Musician Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Light, and today I have a special guest from the Netherlands. Her name is Monika Copper, and she is a vocal coach and performing artist. She is a founder of MKA Music Rotterdam and Music School of Music, where you can learn how to sing, play the piano, guitar, cello, and violin. And this year, Monika participated in a TV show that I'm sure a lot of you guys know, The Voice of Poland. So let's hop into the conversation. All right, you guys, I am so excited to have someone new on the podcast to me and to you guys as well, all the way that's from Poland and the Netherlands right now. We actually have Monika Copper. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So you have a lot of things going on for you right now. You have a vocal training online school. You just were in The Voice. You're doing online videos, taking over social media. I mean, killing the game. So I love to see that happening. And I kind of want to just get a background on what all you're doing and where you got that start.
Well, oh gosh, yeah, a lot of things going on right now, and it's like 24 hours a day. It's just not enough for finishing everything. So probably you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, it started. It started when I was 7. If we're gonna go that far,
Wow.
and yeah, it was a music school that I auditioned for, and I started with piano. So I've been playing piano for 15 years, or like around 15 years. And probably now you're wondering what's my age. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm 30.
Nice.
So yeah, and in the meantime, I started singing, and I discovered that's exactly what I want to do, because piano wasn't really my thing, and I just kind of wanted to stay close to music. That was the only reason I was doing piano. But now I see it as a very useful skill actually for singers, because you can play, you can sing, so it's super nice. And at some point, I also graduated from university here in the Netherlands with master degree. And always within studies, I wanted to perform a lot. I wanted to do a lot of gigs, and I was struggling to get those gigs, and I was really like pushing it. At some point, I even felt like kind of depressed. I never had it, like I never went to the doctor to check this out, but I really felt that way because I put so much energy and so much time into sending those emails. And I even started my thesis, and the subject I chose was why it's so hard to get on the gigs, for the promoters. And I was interviewing promoters for that. So yeah, and then I wanted to teach, but I wasn't sure if that's really my thing, until I started. And then I realized it's not only a thing that brings me happiness and brings me like fulfillment. It doesn't stop me from performing, and on top of that, it gives me a fixed income, which musicians are struggling as far as I can see.
Oh, yeah. I know we were talking right before we hopped onto the podcast. A lot of people have talent and a lot of people have drive, but like business and making that money in a passive income source is just not happening. So I love that you're doing that. Let's actually go into your school. So what is the school? What is this? Your vocal.
So we started with one location. I mean, I just rented a space at some point when I had enough students. I rented the space and I started teaching there. And, every time you do something for a long time, it's not like I was tired of it, but I couldn't really switch my time for money any longer, because more students means more work, and more work means I cannot really work on my business to make it grow. So I started outsourcing. I hired a couple of teachers, and they were coming to the same studio every day, different person, and every day different instrument. I also I think it's necessary to mention that my school is mainly for Polish people in the Netherlands. So it was very specific for me to have teachers that speak Polish.
Mhm.
But it's that we also have students that are international and Dutch as well. But yeah, so they were teaching here, and now actually just yesterday I signed a contract for another studio. So we're gonna open another location. So I'm super excited and super stressed because the finances has to be right. But I did the math and I think it should be fine. So I'm excited to do that, and there will be another extra teacher joining our team. And yeah, so we are teaching now singing, violin, cello, piano. Let me see what else. That will be oh, sorry, yeah, and a guitar and ukulele.
Oh, so it's like just more than vocals. You have how many teachers do you have like on staff?
We are four, and from January on, there will be one more joining us.
That's crazy. So you went from going in school and kind of not even knowing how to get gigs and just kind of struggling to now opening a second location, having students doing multiple instruments. Like I do think that's like a high feat. That's fantastic. So I guess in the school you do a lot more of the vocal training. Is that correct?
Yes, I also teach piano, but since now that I have a teacher that does it way much better than me, because I always say to my students, you can come to my class, but that will be like very basic. Let's say first 6 years of like regular school program I can teach you. But if you want to go further into that, then maybe better if you go to someone else. But I've been always thinking about classical music, and since I teach pop music in singing, I also started teaching them how they can accompany, that's how we say it, like accompany yourself on piano. And that actually worked out pretty well because we do kind of like a program now that you can teach, you can learn how to sing and at the same time learn basics on piano, so you can already have this full package. So that's what I do on my lessons.
I know, and I saw when I was looking at your YouTube channel, I think you're now starting to kind of do some advice on there as well too. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's actually more connected to, not really with my work because I don't get paid for that, but
Mhm.
I realized that it's very important to work on your visibility on social media. And in order to do that, you need to bring people value. They are not going to follow you if you don't bring them something for free or something that's going to be useful for them. And since I know how to sing and I know how to teach singing, I believe, then I also started doing those singing videos, very like short tips on how you can improve. And yeah, and actually it goes pretty well. And I also do a short videos on Instagram, so everything what lands on YouTube lands on Instagram in a shorter version, let's say. And on top of that, I always try to keep the feed clean, so there's always some pictures, a thumbnail, and yeah, so that's how it goes.
Well, yeah, we were talking about earlier that social media is such a huge thing for artists and we're missing out. So, on a daily basis, what is your thoughts on social media and how you implement that into what you do and how you can use it for the business, also with your artistry and using it to your advantage?
In my opinion, everyone should take care of their personal brand. And you do that by actually being active on social media. And being a musician is just a must have, guys. It's really like, I have so many friends and they're like, yeah, no, yeah, I just don't have time for it. Maybe Facebook. Yeah, I feel comfortable on Facebook because I've been there for 10 years. So I think it's good. But yeah, Facebook is something that there is no way that you can reach out to new people. There are people that are already following you, or your family. You can show a picture with your dog and not really care about how nice the picture is, the quality, or how your face looks like there. Like, this is just for family and friends. That's how I see Facebook. And on top of that, even if the Facebook is a good place to be as a musician, you still need to look around and see where people are, because I am myself, I started Instagram very late because I started like 6 years ago. I think Instagram's like 10 years now. And yeah, and I was still struggling, like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, but at some point I did it, and I have actually have fun with this, doing it. That's just another thing. But also TikTok now. TikTok is for teenagers, but I need to also reach out to teenagers because I also teach children. So I need to be where they are and where they're hanging out. I mean, internet wise. So that's what I think is important, that musicians, when they want to show their art, show what they're doing on a daily basis, that's just the best thing they can do. It's for free and you just need to put some time to it, but it's really worth it.
Mhm. I mean, I see that a lot of your content is, like, high scale. Like, is that you taking those pictures, or do you hire someone, or how do you get such good imagery on the feed?
So what I do is most of the pictures I do myself. Videos definitely I do myself. Well, I
Mhm.
just invested in a better phone, so I make sure that the pictures can be the best possible, and I can still use phone for calling and other things that you do with your phone. And I do the filter on Instagram. So I have like a package of 10 filters. I bought it. I don't even know how to set this up. I think it's a very good skill to know how to edit pictures.
Mhm.
That's maybe for future, but now I just bought a filter that it's a preset
Nice.
that just sets the colors and everything, and it's kind of pinky vibe that I like, and the bright pictures. So that's my theme, but everybody chooses different one, and you just need to find a good preset to buy and follow. And there are some pictures also that I did with the photographer,
Mhm.
and I work with a few photographers. We have a deal that they can use those pictures for their own portfolio, and that I use it for myself. So, but mainly I do it myself.
Well, and I like this point because a lot of the people you were talking to said that they didn't have the time or the capability. You're using a cell phone, you're getting a Lightroom preset, and you're making it happen. So, people listening, you can do this. It's not complicated, and if you look at her feed, like, it's legit. I thought it looked great, awesome, and, like, you can
Thanks.
see your clear image, you can see your clear branding. I know kind of what you're about, and it does help visibly propel who's seeing your content. I will say one thing I've heard a lot of people saying, since we're on the whole social media platform thing right now, how do they keep content going during COVID? Like when everything, live shows and different things are shut down, are there any ideas that you have for people that they could post about, or like just any spark of ideas?
I think everybody should post what they're good at, and since we are talking about musicians, where just post what you're doing on a daily basis. I mean, it's sometimes revealing a lot, and some people might feel not comfortable with showing their dinner on an Instagram story or something. But that's what people also want to see, and
Mm,
I realized that actually when I was at The Voice this year, and people are really curious what you're doing and who you are. So
mhm,
it's maybe on a bigger scale, but since you are a musician on a local manner, that you're known in like locally, those people, that's already like thousands of people, or maybe 2,000 or 5,000, and they are all curious about what you're doing, and especially you want to show what you're doing musically. So if you are like during lockdown and there are no concerts, well, make one, because there are also a lot of musicians going live on Instagram, or they're finding a platform where they can perform for a small fee. Someone can just support them and just watch it, or maybe just do it for free, since there's nothing else to do. You're gonna earn 2 or 3 followers that's just gonna be very crazy about your music. You never know.
mhm.
So I think doing anything really helps. And for me personally, now that it was lockdown, I also wasn't I was teaching less. um, I just focused on my personal brands. I was doing more videos, basically doing more what I've been doing before.
But no, I think you're right whenever you're even talking about free concerts, like just making it happen, because 1 or 2 fans might not seem like something now, but 1 or 2 fans are gonna be people that are coming to your live shows. They're gonna be people that are investing into your music, and 2 here, 2 at the next thing, to like, that adds up. So I do agree with that 120%. We did kind of breeze over The Voice, and I don't want to breeze over that because obviously, like you said, people are really interested in that. So, can you kind of just take us behind the scenes of what that was like, how you got into it? Like, feel free to dive in. I'm interested in this too. This will be fun to hear.
Well, they're really, it's basically whatever you do for social media. If you're a little bit doing some videos or something, then sometimes you need to redo the same thing and you need to smile the same and be excited or surprised the same way, as you just saw it the first time. So basically, everything would happen there is like fake it till you make it, because there have been so many interviews going on and you have to repeat some things, or yeah, interviews, that was the main thing of what was going on. So when I find out that I was accepted to blind auditions, they already asked me to send a very detailed biography. So that was a lot of words already and basically everything about me. And then they still called me for 30 minutes, talk through it. And on top of that, when I arrived to Warsaw, because that was the Voice of Poland,
Mhm.
they still asked me the same questions, another 40 minutes of interview, because they just needed me to say it to the camera, basically everything what they knew already. And that was the first, how you call it, the first stage. So after blind auditions, there were another interviews. So it's really, really all about interviews and about making. I guess I understand it, because they need to, I said, that people are interested in you if you are at the program, and they just need to give it to them. So that was all about that. Yeah, and that was an amazing experience, really. Like, it feels like it was 5 minutes, because I've been for battles as well, and so
Mhm.
this is like second stage. And I felt like I learned so much, because I've been also practicing like crazy. I think I can't remember the last time I've been practicing singing so much, because you get a song and then you have 1 week to learn it. So yeah, I was practicing a lot, and I asked my friend to help me also, just maybe come by to the practice room and check up if I do everything right and stuff. And she actually helped me so much that I took lessons with her online, because yeah, there are particular things that I'm still working on my voice. Like, basically you're working on your voice whole life. So yeah, it was very, very nice. I also personally, as a singer, have a problem with stage fright. And believe me or not, but those two performances on those big stages, I feel like if I would get a chance to get on the third one, then
Yeah.
I would basically be over it. Really, it's just in your head, And I was doing those meditations and all kinds of practice with this to just get over it, and it really helped. On the second one, it was like totally different feeling.
Well, because like, explain how that even feels, the first, live performance, like, that has I would have been scared too. Was that, like, nerve-wracking? Like, a one-time experience, or did they have to re-record that multiple times?
No, if you go to blind auditions, and also like everything was, there were many parts where they had to re-record. For
Mhm.
example, an introduction, and a guy who is like a host of the program, so he was talking so many times the same thing that I was even remembering his lines. But once you sing only once, you cannot redo it. That makes sense, because you can do it better or worse the next time. So yeah.
'Cause that would be so nice to be able just to redo if you're like, "Okay, let me do that again," but it's because they have to turn around and be surprised. They actually
Yes.
surprised, but that has to be a really cool experience. Do you feel like there was something huge that you took away, like a lesson from that experience?
Perform more, because I really dropped performing for school. Well, you need to devote at some point, go only one direction if you really want to push it through.
Mhm.
But my students actually, they were like, why don't you just send your video? Because in Poland we have those pre-castings. Usually physically you need to show up and just sing something and stay in a huge line and stuff. And now due to COVID, they did this online. So I was like, okay, well, since I'm here, maybe I will do it. So I just sent it over, and they said that I was accepted. Um, but where I was going with this, I forgot where I was going.
Like, the lessons that you learned about performing more? and like within the voice that it was online that you had to submit it in as well. Um,
Yeah. Yes.
but during COVID as well. Like,
Sorry.
did they film all of this during COVID season? I
Yes,
guess.
yes. Yeah. So for blind auditions, they faked the publicity. So on the TV, it looked like there were actually people, but they were not. So I guess they just took some videos from season before.
Amazing.
On the second level stage, when you go to bottles, they actually invited people, but it could be only our families and limited amount of people per person.
Oh, wow. So it was like no one in the audience. It was, quote unquote people in the audience.
Yes. And I felt like, okay, maybe that's gonna actually help me because there are just only five people on, or like four people, yeah, five people in total on chairs because there are four chairs and one chair is like a twin chair where there are two guys. So I was thinking only five people listening me with their backs towards me. So that's maybe not gonna be that bad as if you have the whole audience. But actually, the second one, when there were people around it, that was so much better. You
Oh,
feel like you are not uh, like going on competition. You're basically performing for those people, and they were excited for you because they like every each person that was on the audience, they had someone who was in the program, so they knew how it feels like they need to we need support as participants. So it was really really nice.
that's awesome. Like, just to hear that whole experience, that sounds like it was good, and also it's nice to get out of your comfort zone and do something completely different. Because you said your
Yeah.
students were all excited for you too, and that's so cool. Did you mention earlier that you guys taught performance as well at the school? Or
uh, One more time, what did you say?
did you say that you guys taught performance at like, performing or how to perform at the school as well?
Yes, we actually organized performances before COVID, of course. I organized two concerts for my students. I feel like it's important if you want to sing. Well, everybody has different reasons why they sing. Some people are coming to the studio, they just want to talk, they just feel like being with someone, they feel like expressing music, like their emotions through music. But for me as a musician, I'm like, well, just give it a try. I never forced anyone. So if someone feels really not ready, then at least I just invite them to sit at the audience and just look at it and maybe be encouraged for the next time to show up on stage. And I just try to really get used to my students to used to performing, and also at the same time telling them that it's okay to make mistakes, and they also see other people making mistakes on stage and they know it's not really like, oh my god, what did I do, it's just next time it will be better. Actually today we had recordings because since we cannot do concerts here, I had every single student recorded on the video, like kind of, I don't know if you checked my YouTube, I have to do covers. So I just recorded the sound professionally, kind of, as much as I can, and videos. So I will have a lot of editing, but I'm very happy they came stressed and stuff. But I was like, listen, you have two takes. So it's not like you're going to record for 5 times straight until you get it perfect, and just
Mhm.
get used to it. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like what you've been performing at home, what you've been practicing. You need to always be prepared 120%. So if you want to have 100 on tape, but yeah, I went pretty good actually.
That's really good, and I also think this is probably the most comfortable stage they'll ever be in is underneath one of your concerts. So that's the time to go in, even if they're scared, and just kind of learn how to adapt into that because when they get to a different stage, they'll already have prepped with you. And I love that you guys are just doing a live version like that and pre-record. That's gonna be
Yeah.
cool. And
Actually,
then
once before COVID,
mhm,
we also went with older ones because older students are very hard to get on stage on those concerts because mostly we have children, so they are like performing. They like to perform, so they want to go on stage. And then it's like one person that it's like 25, so they usually be like first asking me like how many people like grown-ups, adults will be singing there because I don't want to make a fool out of myself. So since there were not many people, I just said, okay, so all the adults that I'm teaching, we go to karaoke. And we actually went to karaoke bar and everybody had to sing something. We had drinks, so it was super fun. So yeah, I think it's any way of performing is good.
mhm. Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. Right now, if I do karaoke,
Oh my God,
just
I miss karaoke.
I miss karaoke, I miss traveling, but, we figured it out. We're doing music still, even if online, and I think that's one good point, if nothing else you hear on this podcast, that even with circumstances, you turn them around and work them for your own self and for music. I do wanna ask you one last question. I've had a great time talking, by the way.
Sure.
Um, if there was anything that you would tell your younger self, if you knew from now to your younger self, some advice, any piece of information, what would it be for people that are listening right now? Maybe they can take advantage of this.
There are many things I wish I would do different from the very beginning of my, let's say, musical way. But it also, I give myself like I don't go hard on myself because everyone is different. I'm an introvert person, and I am more like hidden. And you can also see it when I'm performing. I'm not really like open out there, and just looking at everyone and stuff. So I think it's also like just part of yourself. So yeah, being authentic is also important. But when it comes to more technical part, if I would do more of like acting, at least, because actually acting is a big part of opening up yourself on stage. And many people go very technical about singing, but there is this another other layer, let's say, that it's emotional, and you either feel a song, and when you feel a song, it's super nice because then you can basically, you don't have to fake anything, you just have to show the emotion that you feel at this moment. But sometimes it's not your song, it's a song, like for example at The Voice, I didn't get to choose songs, they chose it for me. So sometimes you get a song that you just simply don't feel it, and you need to find a way to perform it at your best, and that's where acting comes in my opinion. So I think it's very important to just mix those arts together and just yeah, and then you can also like get to know a lot about yourself, because I did some acting at school also.
Really love that. I've never heard that. And I think that's brilliant, honestly. Just because you learn how to adapt to the situation and act. So that's excellent. Everyone listening, like, take that advice. That's pure gold. Seriously, I really appreciate you being on today. If you guys are listening right now, I'm going to put all her info in the show notes so you can find her on her website, Instagram, YouTube. We got it all. You're going to find it. Also, we're going to put her classes down as well. So definitely check her out, give her a follow, and thank her for being on the show today. And thanks so much, Monika. I've had a great time talking.
Thanks, Lauren. Likewise, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Enlightened Musician podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theenlightenedmusician.com, where you can subscribe to the show on your platform of choice so you'll never miss an episode. Until next time, this is Lauren Light.